Call of the Void contains strong language and possible trigger warnings and is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Deacon.
Hi, I'm Jack.
And welcome to another episode of Call of the Void, a podcast about all things weird and macabre. And oh my god, it is so good to have you here this week.
Okay, but in all honesty, dude, you did a great job on your own, so.
It was so stressful.
I can't wait to do my solo one, which I'm going to do to give you a break. And yeah.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be fucking weird. It's gonna be really weird when you're like, hi, I'm Jack.
This time I am both Deacon and Jack.
Because straight up, like, I was like, hi, I'm Deacon. And my entire brain just like stopped working.
How many takes did you do before
probably a couple.
There?
It was like 2 or 3, and I was like, God damn it, this is so weird. But I mean, I guess the plus side is that recording solo, I could like make like multiple takes or cut things together so that it sounded all right. So whenever the dog started barking, I could like cut that out.
And I mean, it was kind of nice to only have to worry about one track of audio.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
But like, there were a couple of times like when you forgot a word and you went to go look up like the term or whatever that I heard you go, oh my god, this is so weird.
Yeah. Also, the word that I was looking for in the last episode was paradigm.
I know that you remember the exact word.
I couldn't think of the word paradigm in Apocrypha.
We're gonna shift the paradigm.
Yeah. The veil that like the veil of ignorance that pervades all of humanity and the saints can see through is called the paradigm.
Okay.
I completely fucking forgot that word. But again, whenever I started talking and there was nobody else to talk with me, my entire brain just shut off. And so, anyway, this week we're talking about weird, creepy themes and music.
Yay! Which I'm very excited about because, for those of you that don't know, music is my favorite thing. I like it more than I like sleep. I like it more than I like food. And people who know me know just how much I love both of those things. So.
Anywhoozle, starting off, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about a band that we both mutually like.
Yeah, okay, so fucking Ludo, man. Alright. Like, off the bat, I don't know that many songs by Ludo. I am trying to remedy that, but this was a discussion that was kind of on our list of things that we wanted to talk about for a while, and when we were talking about, oh, hey, what do you want to talk about for this session, I had started listening to a few songs by Ludo, other than the one that I knew, which I'm totally going to talk about, but I just fell so much more in love with their work that I was like, we gotta do the music one, we gotta.
If you don't know who Ludo is, one of their most popular songs was a song that came out a couple years ago. Well, when I say a couple years ago, it's more like 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I was still in school.
If it's the one we both mutually love, it's 2008.
It's not the one that we both.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
it possibly. There was one song that got like very popular on the radio and everything else. "Love Me Dead."
That was on the same album as.
Yeah, it got hella popular. It was the one that like was every fucking place. If you don't know this song, it's the one that starts off "Love Me Cancerously." It got like super duper popular. The
Also,
video is a banger, and
I was wrong. I think it was sometime between 2008 and 2010. But
yeah. But yeah, like I was still in school at this point, and I fell in love with this song, and then I was like, I want more songs that are by Ludo, and then I found the song that me and Jack both mutually love.
So
but so if you don't know who they are, that's who they are.
Yeah, and it's funny because Love Me Dead is the song that made me go, we need to talk about the music thing. But yeah, like the song that Deacon and I both mutually love is a song called The Horror of Our Love. And I always say, like, if I'm listening to a song that could be classified as hipster trash, my friend Kat probably introduced me to it. If I am listening to a song that you're like, what the fuck are you listening to? This is so weird. My friend Ariel probably introduced me to it.
And if it's a meme, I've probably introduced you to it.
Yeah, which is really funny because I accidentally stumbled onto that TikTok, "This beat is my recital," the other day, and I started cracking up because I was like, oh, this is the one Deacon told me about.
Yeah, that one makes me giggle every time I hear it.
It's so good. I love how she started laughing as she was doing it. But anywho, so the thing that I personally have always loved about The Horror of Our Love is, like, for starters, right off the bat, the band themselves have been like, guys, please don't take this song literally.
Yes.
Because it's sort of inspired by a Salvador Dali quote, which about his wife or girlfriend or whoever she was. I don't know that much about Salvador Dali. I apologize. And it was, "I love Gala so much. If she dies, I will eat her." And
yeah,
the band put out this statement. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll put the link in the description so you could read the whole thing. But it's like, it's a very long explanation about the song because they started seeing people like feverishly debate what the meaning of the song was, and they were like, we should clarify this. So the very first thing that they say is, "This song is about profoundly loving or lusting after someone so overflowingly that it devastates you, where your physical person cannot possibly contain your emotion, but that emotion still begs for physical expression, and even still, no affection or act or word can satisfy it." So that's pretty much it. The thing that I've always loved about the song, I kind of refer to it as, like, it's Southern Gothic with an angelic twist. Because, like... Like, it has so many themes that you would find in Southern Gothic literature. But, like, also, just musically, it's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. Like, forget the lyrics for a moment. Just the music is gorgeous. And just hauntingly and eerily beautiful. But, like, the song is, you know, "I want you stuffed into my mouth, hold you down and tear you open, live inside you. Love, I'd never hurt you." You know, like... Yeah. And it's like...
"I'll grind against your bones until our marrows mix. I'll eat you slowly." Like all of those are really good lyrics.
For starters, like, I fucking love the second verse, especially. It's my favorite. But, like, one of the things I adore about this song is that it is fucking dripping with imagery.
Yep.
Like, it is bursting at the seams with imagery. And, like, the second verse, and, like, if you let me, I would, like, recite the whole thing, but I'm not going to. My favorite line in the entire song is in the second verse, which is, "Ancient language speak through fingers, the awful edges where you end and I begin." And I just think that's so gorgeous. Like, you know, like, I love you so much, and yet, like, we are these two separate entities, and like I can't ever be as close to you as I would like. And you know, debate all you want whether or not that's healthy. I personally don't think it is.
Yeah.
But like, generally speaking, like, just as a work of art, it's grotesque and beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite part is also in the second verse. I mean, I also really like the second half of the first verse because it's like, you know, werewolf imagery, and I love werewolves. But the I wake in terror, blackbirds screaming, dark cathedral spilling midnight on their altars.
Like, oh, that's such a good line. Like, and then like, and that was the only song by them that I knew for many, many, many years. And like the other night, like, if I listen to it, or if I listen to a bit, like, or because I've listened to it on YouTube, sometimes I'll just get random Ludo suggestions, and one of them was Love Me Dead. So the other night, I was like, you know what? Let me listen to it, finally. And when it opened with Love Me Cancerously, which, you know, I have some feelings about that topic, but I was like, oh, I don't know if I can listen to the song. But then I listened to the whole song, and I was like, I fucking love this. This is brilliant.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I mean,
like,
yeah, like that lyric is, you know, weird, but it's also like very fitting. It's like like, I don't know, love me so bad that it hurts me.
Yeah, but like, and that's like one of my favorite comments on the video was somebody was like, damn, is he like insulting her or complimenting her?
Both, kind of.
Like, you're hideous and sexy.
You're awful, I love you.
Which, by the way, is the name of the album, that both of those songs, which I love the name of that album. But like, he says all of these horrible things about her and how much like it hurts to love her. And then once again, as Ludo does, the chorus is so beautiful. Like, she moves through moonbeams slowly. She knows just how to hold me. Like, they're so great. Like, I love that about everything I've heard of them so far. And, you know, like, I started listening to a little bit of some of their other stuff, like Skeletons on Parade. And let me tell you something. There's something that is so theatrical about that entire album from what I've listened to from that album so far. I don't, offhand, I apologize, I don't remember all of the names of the songs from that album that I listened to. I just remember Skeletons on Parade for some reason. But, like, there's something that is so theatrical about it that, like, immediately I could see myself, like, sitting in a theater watching a musical set to this album. And on top of that, like, so I think it was Love Me Dead, that another person in the comments was like, I feel like this song is from a sex scene in a Broadway show.
I mean, yeah, I mean, again, with Love Me Dead, like, I mean, there's so many good, like, they fill their songs with so much imagery. The whole, like, kill me romantically, fill my soul with vomit, then ask me for a piece of gum. Or, fucking, you're a faith healer on TV.
Yeah, like,
which is really good.
Yeah, like,
a parasitic, psycho, filthy creature finger banging my heart.
I love that line so much.
You're
but,
born
like,
of a jackal. You're beautiful.
Yeah. But, like, and one of the things that I really love about the way that he sings it is, like, again, he has, like, a very theatrical sort of thing, like, the way he, like, when that line, you're hideous and sexy, like, he's like, you're hideous, and then he sings the next part. Like, it sounds very Broadway. But, yeah, like, if The Horror of Our Love was any indication, I was gonna love the rest of their stuff, but, like, I did like an Instagram story, like a very small Instagram story about specifically those two songs, The Horror of Our Love and Love Me Dead. And like, for starters, like, I really kind of want to write an essay about their music now. But like, one of the things I said was like, my heart that loves the macabre so much, like, it just kind of latches on to them, because it's both, like, it's all at the same time. It is theatrical and whimsical and grotesque and lovely.
Yep.
Like, all at once. And just, I don't know of any other band like that. You know, like, there's one band I really want to start listening to. I follow them on Instagram because I don't remember who it was now, but somebody else I follow suggested them, and I don't remember their names offhand. Let me look that up real quick. Oh, Charming Disaster, that's the name of the band. I've been meaning to get into them because I read a review, other than the fact that I've been following them now for a while on Instagram, and they seem really cool. I read a review of their latest album, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly what the review said, but it was something like, it sounds like a ghost haunted my jukebox and is singing to me. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I need. But yeah, like, I don't know of any other bands that are like Ludo, and they're very unique. Like, there are certain musicians that that have a sort of eerie quality to some of their songs, or like, you know, like Emily Autumn has a lot of...
Yes. Oh my god, I love Emily Autumn so much.
I love Emily Autumn too. Fun fact, Ariel also introduced me to Emily Autumn. But like...
The Emily Autumn was in Devil's Carnival as the doll. Mm-hmm. I love the Devil's Carnival so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, she's great. I love a lot of her shit.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know if I ever told you this. I reworked and recited one of her songs as a performance thing in one of my theater classes when I was in college.
I don't remember what song it was, but there's one that I really liked a lot, and I would sing a lot whenever I was in theater, like with people. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm trying to remember what it is, but it's like
Do you remember roughly how it goes?
Oh, it's Miss Lucy Had Some Leeches.
Oh, I love that one. Miss Lucy had some leeches, and those leeches like to suck. And when they drank up all her blood, she didn't give a funny appetite.
Yeah,
it's really great.
It's one of those, like, you think you know what she's about to say songs, and then she does something else. It's also done like the patty cake thing with the clap. It's so good.
I gotta tell you, my favorite line from that whole thing, because I find it so fucking creepy, is, the doctors are all learned men and some can even read.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of like, I mean, as dark as that song is, there's a lot of like Holocaust imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she also takes a shit ton of her inspiration, and you could tell from just her costumes and her overall vibe and the music itself, she takes a shit ton of her inspiration from like the Victorian era.
Oh, definitely.
So, like, yeah. So there's also that in that song and other songs. Like, there's actually a line in her song Swallow where she says, "Filthy Victorians, they made me what I'm made of." But like, yeah, I love her work. My favorite song of hers, the one I recited, was "Marry Me."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it the name of the play that we were studying at the time was called Big Love, and it was by Charles Mee, M-E-E.
Yeah.
And it was basically like, it was a take on like the Seven Brides for Seven Brothers type thing. And yeah, like, and it was like 50 brides for 50 brothers, and it centered on 3 of the brides and 3 of the grooms. And yeah, so I did that one because it was about was it Marie Antoinette that one was about? I don't remember now offhand.
I don't remember either.
Shit.
It's been so long.
Yeah, like I know this, and it just, I want to say it was Marie Antoinette, but like the song is about an actual famous lady in history who was married off to a king, and she like didn't want to be, and she just took on lovers, and like would make excuses not to sleep with him, and she was just like super like not about it. And you know, and it was like this whole thing about like the thing I love about the chorus of that song is, you know, she's talking about how miserable she is, but then it's like, but oh, what beautiful dresses what beautiful things I'll wear, what beautiful dresses and hair. And it's like, you know, I'm miserable, but oh, like I have all of these great things that, you know, a lot of people would die for, you know. And it's like, she doesn't fucking care, she's miserable.
Yeah. And
like, I fucking love that song, and it worked so well with the subject matter of the play. But my favorite song by hers is probably Shallot. Do you remember that one? Which one that is?
Not off the top of my head, no.
It's the really fast one. Like, she's locked up with a spinning wheel. She can't recall what it was like to feel.
I've not heard that one.
Really? I gotta play that for you.
Yep,
like,
that's one I've not heard.
I know you got shit to do after we record, but I gotta play that for you real quick.
All right.
Yeah, it's honestly, that's the song that got me into her. But yeah, like Shallot was the first song of hers that I had ever heard, and before I knew the name of it, I kept referring to it as that song that sounds like it could be in Castlevania. which can be said about a lot of her songs, actually.
Yeah.
But like she uses like a harpsichord and like a lot of like those kinds of instruments in her music. But yeah, like the whole thing is like there's this line at the end of the song where it's like you know, like it's basically about this woman locked in a tower who's basically cursed, and if she tries to leave, like, she's gonna die, and she knows that she's gonna die young anyway, and she tries to leave, and it's like she went down to the little boat and she broke the chain and began to float away, and as the blood froze in her veins, she said, well, then that explains a thing or two. But like, one of my all-time favorite lines in the song is like, she says, because now some drama queen is gonna write a song for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I love her work. And yeah, like, you find a lot of like kind of fucked up dark themes in her music as well.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing like, you know, what Fall Out Boy did endorsing cannibalism and all, but
oh my god. So that's a bit of an inside joke, but and thanks for the memories, whatever he has the lyric, he tastes like you, only sweeter. My dad for a while didn't like me listening to that song because he thought it was about cannibalism, and it took me a while to explain to him that it's more it's not about cannibalism. Like, let's just leave it there.
my favorite thing though is like when you first, okay, so I first found this out like last like last Wednesday, every Wednesday, Deacon and I play Borderlands 2 with our lovely friend Ninja Bush, who, for those of you that don't know, is Volstagg, or was the player for Volstagg, the character in the Fierce Ferrets comic Dungeon Minis, but also he has just joined us on The Last Light, and he plays this awesome alien character named Sebas, but...
Seabass.
No! So he, so yeah, like, we play with him and my brother Reaper, and my brother had some Fall Out Boy song or another stuck in his head, and he was just randomly singing it, and then Thanks for the Memories came up in conversation, and you were like, yeah, my dad thought that it endorsed cannibalism.
No. What ended up happening, like what was actually going on was I was telling you about that TikTok, and I was like,
yes.
This beat is my recital. I think it's very vital.
Vital.
And I kept talking, like I kept just saying the lyrics,
Yeah.
and then I started doing that with Fall Out Boy.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
but
I'm
my
gonna make
brother-
it bend and break. Say a prayer, but let the good times roll.
And then we started
And we
doing
got
that
onto
with
it,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, because, like, my brother has been listening to a lot of Fall Out Boy lately, and he has been just randomly singing it, so, but God, when you were like, he thought it, not that he thought it was about cannibalism, he thought it endorsed cannibalism.
Yeah. And I was like, no, Dad, that's not what that song's about.
No,
I mean, he also didn't like the lyric, the say a prayer, but let the good times roll in case God doesn't show. And he was like, I don't like that lyric. And I was like, I don't fucking care. But yeah,
although there is one Fall Out Boy line, and I remember, like, so, like, my taste in music is pretty eclectic now, but my heart and soul lie in rock, specifically classic rock, specifically 80s rock. And I remember when you first played Young and Menace for me, and there was the line, they'd have to kill me twice like my name was Nikki Sixx, and I made such a big deal about that line. I was like, oh my god, that's such a fucking clever line, and you had no idea what that was about, other than Nikki Sixx is somebody from Motley Crue, and
yeah.
I was like, oh, so this is the story behind that, and you were like, Jesus.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Mania is such a great album. I'd definitely listen to that album. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, before we move on to any other topic,
Yeah.
I just want to touch on something really quick because I don't know if you've heard about it or not.
What?
Did you hear about the lawsuit with Katy Perry?
No.
Oh my God! So Katy Perry got sued again.
I wasn't aware she was sued before.
Yeah, she was sued the first time because she was trying to buy a nunnery.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she was trying to buy basically a monastery, whatever. She was trying to buy it. And the nuns were like, "No, you can't." And she was like, "Bitch, I can do whatever I want." And the nuns took her to court. And one of them who, like, what was her name? I think it was like Mary Catherine or something like that was the lady's name.
As somebody who went to Catholic school their whole life, that's a safe guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm trying to remember what her name was. But one of the nuns there, like testified against Katy Perry, and then, I forgot exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure she had like a heart attack and died in court.
Dude! Oh my god, that's horrible.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened, but yeah, a lot of people were talking about it, like, or she died afterwards, or it was something, but she had a heart attack, like very soon after the trial, and a lot of the people that, like, you know, were against Katy Perry in this whole thing were saying that, like, she cursed them and put like some kind of spell on them or whatever so that they would die or some shit. I don't know, but Christian bullshit. But yeah. So there was a lot of people who were like upset because they said that Katy Perry killed a nun. But I'm sure you've heard her song Dark Horse, right?
Yeah.
Well, she got sued by a Christian rapper.
Okay.
Because that's a thing that exists.
Oh, that's absolutely a thing that exists. I've had to listen to some.
I know, but I'm like, that it's really,
school.
It's really weird. But yeah, so there is a Christian rapper who had a song called Joyful Noise, that he claims Katy Perry stole part of for Dark Horse. And the two songs sound vaguely similar to one another, but not really that similar to one another.
Yeah.
But she lost the case. Like, her record label, she lost the case. She was like, I've never heard of this guy. I've never heard this song. I don't listen to Christian rap. I've never heard anything about this. And yeah, so she lost the case.
Can she appeal?
I don't know. But yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking dumb, but yeah, she lost the case, and I was like, what is going on?
You know about what happened with that song Bittersweet Symphony, right?
Vaguely?
Yeah, like, I don't, and I apologize because I'm gonna fuck up the details, but yeah, basically they were initially told that they could use the sampling that they used.
Yeah.
And then the guy who either owned the rights or, like, was ahead of the record label, like, after the song was released or whatever, like, claimed that they never had permission to use it or something, when they most certainly did, and the rights got taken away from them, and the Rolling Stones, because it was a sampling of one of their songs, have had the rights and made all the money on that song, and they just now gave the rights back to the artists that made Bittersweet Symphony.
Yeah, since that song came out, basically, like, I knew vaguely what was going on with it, but yeah, like,
that's the basic gist of it. I'm probably getting some of the details.
But yeah, essentially, ever since that song's been out, pretty much, the Verve have made zero money. Like,
the Verve, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the Verve have made zero monies on that song. Whatsoever. Every single time you have downloaded or bought that song, the money has gone to other people. Yeah.
But yeah, like, which sucks because, like, the song is awesome and it's really great and it was very popular when it first came out. But yeah, so going from law, which...
I brought it up because Katy Perry also has some, like, dark themes in her music as well, like Dark Horse and E.T. and you know, she's got some dark themes in that, but I thought that would be a more natural transition into, like, Billie Eilish than anything else.
Fucked it up.
I was trying to make a smooth transition into like Billie Eilish,
and I was like, well, let me just mosey on over and trample all over this.
But no, that's why I brought up the whole Katy Perry thing, because I thought that was, I mean, it's more of a recent event, but it's kind of funny.
I mean, we've laughed at more inappropriate things to laugh at on this show. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny that people saying that, like, Katy Perry killed a nun is still pretty funny to me, even because the extenuating circumstances, she was stressed out about, like, possibly losing the place that she's lived at her entire life, and you know, had never testified in court or anything else like that before. So all of those things played into the reason that she had a heart attack and died. But a lot of people are just like, no, Katy Perry killed a nun because she's, you know, a devil worshiper or some shit.
She must be a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Yep. I got better. But yeah, so Billie Eilish has if you've not heard her songs, like, where the fuck have you been? But she has, like, Oh my god, her most recent album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?
I only just became aware of her existence. I didn't know any of her music before this album. And I gotta say, one of the reasons I really, really like her is because you don't see a lot of, like, okay, so, like, you mentioned Katy Perry. Katy Perry's music, even the stuff with, like, the darker themes in it, is still very, like, poppy and upbeat and everything. And then Billie Eilish was like, I'm gonna write this really twisted and warped song, and I'm going to make it sound twisted and warped.
I mean, well, she has some that are, like, so you said you're not really familiar with anything before this most recent album. She had a song before this album called Bellyache.
I think, was that the one that you sent me?
Maybe, possibly.
Because I've listened to a couple of her older things since, and, like, she's great. She's absolutely great, and I like her. Like, I like her work now. I'm just saying that, like, I'm very impressed that she would do that, because not a lot of...
I mean, first off, I think we should point out that she's 17 fucking years old, and she's doing some, like, real good shit with her music. It's so good. Yeah. I mean, so the thing about her is that she has, like, really bad depression, and she hates herself, and she thinks all of her music is garbage, which is very wrong.
Well, one thing she did say about this album, because she did an interview, and I watched the interview because, you know, I like to watch some of those interviews where, like, the people play with, like, puppies and kittens and stuff, because I love seeing how hard it is for them to answer, because they have these cute creatures running around. But, like, in her interview that she did with a bunch of puppies, like, one of the things that she said about her new album was that she loved every song on it, which she hasn't really experienced before. Like, before that, like, there were some songs that she was like, yeah, I like it, but she said, I love every song on this album. I'm so happy with this album.
Yeah, because she didn't feel like she was, apparently from what I understand, she didn't feel like the music that she put out before was her. Like, like, she wasn't putting herself into her music as much as she was. Like I said, she had that song, Bellyache, which basically she's talking about how she murdered her friends and they're in the back of her car and she's too young to go to jail and, all this other shit. And
Why haven't I heard of her before now?
it's like a really poppy song, but it's talking about some, like, really morbid themes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think we should talk about the more obvious song that everybody has been talking about. That has such a fucking great video. Everything about it is so good.
That video. Like, I love that video so much.
Bury a Friend. It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you have not heard this song, where the fuck have you been? Because it has been all over the radio. It has been everywhere. Mm-hmm. And this video is so good and everybody is talking about it. Like, this video and this song is, I don't know, like, I feel like this could accompany, like, a horror movie.
Oh, it absolutely can. Like,
and the direction that she went with the video is basically a fucking horror movie. It's so good.
Yeah, like, I have, I made a little playlist very specifically for, like, a very certain thing that I want to write. I made a playlist for stuff, like, with music to put me in that kind of mindset for it. But generally speaking, I like, that's a song that I would absolutely listen to, like, if I was trying to write horror, to kind of get me in that headspace. And, like, what's funny is I don't remember if it was a thing I read, or if I think she might have said it in that same interview I saw. Like, she kind of made fun of herself for the video. She was like, yeah, because I think it's a good idea to suspend myself from the ceiling in a hotel.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But, like, that music video is so freaking creepy.
Yeah, it is.
It's like,
it is really, really, really creepy. And also to just, she is very gung-ho about doing all of this stuff that's in her videos. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the video for You Should See Me in a Crown.
I have.
But she is covered in spiders for a majority of it. And there is a point during the video where she opens her mouth and has a spider crawl out, where she actually had a real ass spider in her fucking mouth. Like, it, oh my god, like she's like, I want to do everything that I'm doing in my videos. If I'm going to be suspended from the ceiling, or if I'm going to be rotated around in a like upside down and shit, I want to actually do it.
Like,
and
I appreciate her so much.
Yeah, like
so much.
Also, When the Party's Over is another really great song, but
I
she's
haven't
like,
listened to it yet because I've heard that it's very sad.
it is a sad song. But in the video, she's like, she drinks this like black like substance that's in a container on the counter, which is basically just water with like black food coloring or charcoal or whatever in it.
Yeah.
And then it starts pouring out from her eyes. She had a little like water spout thing that was on her eyes, and then like it poured out, and essentially what it was a mixture of like, because they wanted to make it like a viscous, like thick thing, so they put xanthan gum in it. And she got some in her eyes while they were filming. And she was like, shit fucking burns. Because it kept going into her eyes. That's why if you watch the video, her eyes start turning black. And it's because she's getting like the little spout things are getting like the xanthan gum mixture in her eyes, and it's just pouring out. And she's like, ugh, like she said it was disgusting. But the whole album is super good.
I need to just listen to the entire album. I've only heard bits and pieces of it, but I love what I've heard.
Yeah, like, I mean, it starts off with, like, her being funny with her brother, and she sings, like, Bad Guy, which is a great song.
I love that song. I love the video for that, too.
But then, like, after you get through Bad Guy, it starts getting into more serious stuff, like Zanny and You Should See Me in a Crown and all that kind of stuff. Wish You Were Gay is another great song on that album. Well, it's one of those songs where it's like she's in love with someone, but they don't love her back, so she wishes that they were gay so that she had an excuse for them not to like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
really sad.
It is really sad. Ilo Milo is another song that has like kind of dark theming. It's one of those. So if you don't know what Ilo Milo is a video game. Where it's a puzzle game, and you have these two characters, Elo and Milo, that you have to get, like, they're in love with one another, and you're trying to guide them through the stage, like, through the puzzle, to get them safely to the other side, or whatever. Essentially, like, the song is about, like, I don't care if you're lying to me, just love me kind of situation, but it's also got like this kind of like dark like theming to the music around it. Like, oh my god, it's such a good song. And
really gotta
there's so many songs on this album that are so good, and they have like this kind of like weird, like, I don't know, like, it's not like discordant, and that's not the word I'm trying to think of, or that I'm trying to say, but like the theme of the song itself, like what she's talking about, and like the music, like clash with one another. Like, they're kind of dark, but she's talking about something that isn't necessarily dark.
Like After Laughter.
Kind of, sort of, but yeah, it's
like from Paramore's album is After Laughter, and for anybody unfamiliar with it, Haley Williams, the singer, she went through a really bad depressive period in her life, and she wrote this album based on that, and a lot of the songs are like
they're
really
super upbeat and happy, and like they have this like 80s vibe that are like, oh cool,
Yeah.
80s nostalgia, oh my god, and but they're like talking about this like
I listen to Hard Times a lot.
Like fake happy. She's like, I bet everybody here is fake happy like me, but listen to this song and it's such a jam, but everybody is just not really actually happy and whatever. Like a lot of the songs on the album are like, and I can like, gush about the theming of this album for so long because I really
like, Some Nights by Fun.
Yeah.
That's not a happy song by any means. Like,
oh, definitely not.
The lyrics are actually like really depressing. It's just that the song itself is like, the music is so upbeat that it's very easy to miss the point.
Yeah, I mean, hell, fucking Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People. A lot of people don't know, like, a lot of people, like, I know a lot of people who do not know what that song is about, and they just like it because it's a bop, and I'm like, if you don't know, if you are one of those people who don't know, like, Pumped Up Kicks is about a school shooting.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, it's, I don't know, like, I could gush about, like, After Laughter and everything for a really long time, because I love the way that they format the album, because you've got like all these songs that are really upbeat and happy and they're like, oh my god, like everything is great, and then you hit like 26, which is like almost right in the middle of the album, and it just, the mood just drops. It's an acoustic song. There is no 80s synths or whatever going on. It's just Hayley Williams with a fucking guitar, and it's really sad. And then it just goes right back to being all happy-go-lucky for like the rest of the thing. But then you have a couple songs like Forgiveness and No Friend and things like that that kind of like, you know, bring it back to like, hey, this is not a happy album. Because I mean the whole thing is like the phrase is after laughter comes tears. Like, and that's the entire point of the album, and it's just, oh my god, it's such a good album.
It really is. Like, I honestly too, like, I super appreciate, you know, albums like that, and also like a lot of 21 Pilots. Oh
my god, yeah.
They talk about, you know, mental health and stuff like that. I'm glad that, I mean, look, there's still a hell of a long way to go. Like, I'm not like, oh, and now everything's better. Like, it's still super stigmatized. There are still groups of, like, people that, you know, don't believe in it or don't believe in, like, seeking treatment, or think you could just pick yourself up by your bootstraps, or that, like, doing yoga will help or whatever. Like, so we still got a ways to go, but I'm super glad that, you know, artists are talking about it more. I'm a big fan of MMA. A lot of fighters have been talking about it, like these people who are like these like big macho guys, and they're talking about like, yo, mental illness is a real thing and it's hard, and you know, I'm really happy to start seeing that more often.
Yeah, and that's a topic for me that I'm like very passionate about, and I'm glad that, like, I mean, again, you also have people like Half Alive, which is another band that I really, really like, that also, so they have a lot of old songs that sound a lot like 21 Pilots. Their newer stuff it sounds different, but they have a bit of stuff that also talks about, like, they just released a song called Okay Okay, and it's talking a lot about, like, look, it's all right to be who I am, and I don't have to answer to anybody, and stop trying to make yourself someone that you're not, kind of thing. But I mean, a lot of the songs that they have, because so, like, the lead singer, has, I mean, he puts a lot of, because he's Christian, so he puts a lot of like Christian imagery in his music, but it's still like he's not like doing Christian pop. Like that's not what the songs are.
I mean, that's kind of like Anberlin, which I honestly get frustrated when people refer to Anberlin as Christian rock. Like, because like, for starters, number one, if you've never heard Anberlin, they're incredible, and you should take a moment and try to get into their stuff. Number two, they are one of my all-time favorite bands. But like, the singer Stephen Christian, he's a very devout Christian, and like there are a lot of like themes about like God, and you know, like one of my favorites is in the song Finn, he talks about he talks about a personal experience when he was a little kid, and he was just not in a good place or something, and like the line is, "Do you remember the house on Ridge Road told you and the devil to both just leave me alone?" And like, so there's a lot of references and stuff, but like it's not necessarily Christian rock. That's not what all of the songs are about. Like, you know, but like, I don't like it when people pigeonhole bands like that. I mean, it's the same thing with Relient K, although like
Relient K has a lot more though. Yeah, like
I was gonna say like, if between those two bands, if one of them is a Christian band, it's way more Relient K than it is
which I caught shit for a lot when I was in school, because I was like, I liked the Relient K, and people were like, they're a Christian band, don't you not believe in that kind of stuff? And I'm like, I mean, so? Yeah. They have a song called Crayons Could Melt on Me for All I Care, where they're just like, I just wasted 10 seconds of your time. And I'm like,
okay, but
like, what does that have to do with Christianity? There's so many songs that are like,
for real though, they have a Christmas album called Deck the Halls and Bruise Your Hand. Like, they're so huge. For starters, I love Relient K like a lot. But yeah, like Relient K, I would absolutely be like, yeah, they're a Christian thing. Like, they have like a lot of overtly Christian themes, like, but there are so many bands that make reference, bands and other like, and solo artists and whatever, that make reference to God and all that stuff that are not Christian. Like, it doesn't matter if the person making the music is devout or whatever. Like, not everybody is Creed. You know what I mean?
Oh God. Anyway,
but like, was there somebody else you wanted to talk about, or?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I do like, I do very highly recommend, like, if you haven't listened to, it's not somebody who has like a lot of like darker imagery in their music, but if you want something that's a little bit more hopeful, that is talking about like, you know, things like depression and things like that in some capacity, I do highly recommend Half Alive. They're also very good. They're again, they remind me a lot of, some of their older stuff reminds me a lot of 21 Pilots, and their newer stuff is still very, very, very good. But they have a song called Arrow, which I very much like, and it's talking about like, the hardest place to be is where you are currently in your life. You can't go back to the beginning. You're like stuck somewhere in between the beginning and the end, and the hardest place for a person to be is right where you are.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a really good song, and I very highly recommend them. It's about like, I mean, a lot of their stuff is, they have a song called Runaway, where they're like, I don't have to run away from, like, I'm looking at, they have a lyric that's like, oh my God, let me find exactly what it is, because I don't want to fuck it up.
Okay.
But it's I hold my life out in front of me, dreams and who I want to be, and seeing every empty page. But I find that everything I am is everything that I should be, and I don't need to run away. Like, there's, like, they've got a lot of, like, really good... I know we've been talking about a lot of, like, really dark imagery and stuff in music, so I feel like I should suggest that I feel like I should suggest some stuff that's a little bit more hopeful and does deal with, you know, trying to figure out who you are and working with mental health and things like that a little bit more, because that is important, and it's a thing that I hold very close to my heart as someone who has mental health issues. But yeah, so I think that's all I've got.
There's only one more band that I wanted to talk about a little bit. So, and it's funny that we talked about, like, bands that fall under the Christian category, considering this band. There are a lot of Christians that have boycotted their shows and tried to get them to not play in their area.
Is this who I think it is?
Ghost?
Yep.
Yeah, so I fucking love Ghost. Like, I love them so much. People
This
need
is
to
not
stop.
a band that I have listened to.
Well, they're not in your wheelhouse.
They're not.
Fair.
I don't like metal.
Like, yeah, so, and there are some people who would yell at you for that, which, like, metal fans are, like, among the best and the worst of music fans, I've noticed. But, like, and I'm one of them, so, like, you know, don't come after me for that. But, like...
I will, though.
But, like, here's the thing. I'm so sick of this, like, gatekeepy bullshit that it's like, oh, this isn't metal, or whatever. Or, like, my favorite thing that I see on comments of, like, different metal covers or whatever, like, if the person playing it is, like, smiling and obviously having a good time, you're playing metal, you're not supposed to be smiling, have some respect, blah blah blah. Okay, go watch. Why
can't people be happy? Like,
but that's the thing, like, because it's metal, Deacon, how dare you be into it? Like, go watch a performance, and there are many on YouTube. Go look up a Metallica concert and see how James Hetfield is actually smiling and really into it. Like, I want to know that the artist or whoever is, like, really into it. Like, I don't want to feel like they're miserable.
I mean, how dare someone like their craft?
Exactly. And, like, and again, like, speaking real quick about James Hetfield, like, and he's made comments before about, like, because people are, like, so shocked that he's not this, like, brooding, angry person all the time. And he's like, well, I put that into my music so I don't have to feel it in my everyday life. Like, that's my outlet.
You mean everybody's not fucking Nathan from Metalocalypse?
Yo, I love Death Clock. My favorite is Pickles, though. But anywho.
I also don't like Metalocalypse.
Gee, I wonder why. Could
it
be, like, one of the characters is everything you fear?
Well, no, it's a gross show.
It can be. It can be.
It's the same reason I don't watch things like Moral Oral or whatever.
I've only ever heard of that. I've never actually seen it.
Or Squidbillies. Ugh.
I don't know what that is. So, I mean, I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it, though. But there is probably, definitely an episode of Drunk Fandom that you're gonna not be able to listen to then this season coming up.
I mean, no, no. You forget the fact that I have to edit them, so I will definitely listen to it.
Okay, so it's okay. You'll get a comprehensive story about Metalocalypse, so you won't have to watch it.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah, so, getting back to Ghost, so, like, Ghost is one of those bands that I feel like people take a lot of their subject matter way too seriously, and, like, it's a part of the act, the whole devil worshiper satanic thing, like the whole anti-pope thing with like Papa Emeritus and like all of his incarnations and now Cardinal Copia and stuff. Like, people take it way too seriously and way too literally, but like it's honestly just about the performance and everything. But like Ghost has, I mean, by nature, with like the whole satanic like shtick, they have a lot of dark themes in their stuff, in their music. One of, like, before Prequel, which if there was an album to get people that don't normally listen to that kind of thing, if there was an album to get people into Ghost, it would be Prequel. Like, the album just from start to finish is just all bangers. It's so good. Like, so good. Before Prequel, my favorite song of theirs was Square Hammer, which is about Freemasons. But it's so good. It is so good. Like, Square Hammer is great, and I love it, and it's still absolutely one of my favorites by them. But my new favorite is Dance Macabre on the album, on Prequel. So, like, I kind of want to talk specifically about Prequel for a minute. They don't really do concept albums, like, it's not really a concept album, but, like, they, and Tobias Forge, the singer for the group who plays all of these characters, like Papa M and Cardinal Copia and all that, I recently saw an interview with him where he talked about, like, there's definitely, like, themes that stretch out throughout their albums, and for this one, like, Prequel isn't about the Black Plague. It's just heavily inspired by it. Yeah. And, like one of their singles off of the album is called Rats. And it's really good. Like, it's so good, and I love the video, and I love the imagery and stuff like that, but, like, it's about, like, the whole album is kind of this about death, and part of the, other than the fact that Dance Macabre is a beautiful song, and I love it so much because it's beautiful, I love the whole idea behind it, because, like, that one was kind of inspired by the fact that, like, during the plague, there was one business that was booming throughout the whole thing, and that was brothels. And part of the reason for that was because people were like, well, everyone around me is getting sick, and they're dying, so I am probably going to get sick and die too. I might as well live it up while I possibly can. Yeah. And, you know, that's just, I find that to be oddly beautiful and inspirational. And, like, I desperately want a tattoo that is inspired by that song. Maybe not exactly that song, but, like, really inspired by that whole idea. But yeah, like, Ghost is one of those bands that I feel like now they're getting their due a lot more, because Prequel is a little bit more mainstream than their other stuff, so more people are being exposed to it and more people are starting to get into them, which is great. But I feel like they're one of those bands that a lot of their stuff could be, like, extremely underrated. But yeah, like, if you've never heard of them before, start with Prequel, I'd say, just because it's a really great album. Like, my brother started to get into them because of Prequel, because there's a lot of, like, biblical sort of imagery, like the Pale Rider and all that stuff, and, like, that kind of representation of death. And there's his favorite song on the album, which is my third favorite song on the album, is the song called Witch Image, that is told from the perspective of death. And it's just, it's really great. Like, just listen to it. But yeah, like, Ghosts is, I'm glad that they're getting their due finally, because they were kind of really niche for a while, but one of the things that I constantly see people say about them that I wholeheartedly agree with is, if these guys were around in the 80s, they would have been huge. Like, they have, like, kind of a decent 80s vibe to them, which might be one of the reasons why I'm super about them. But, yeah. Ghost is great, and you should listen to them, and not take their demonic stuff seriously.
Unless you're just not super into metal like me, and
yeah,
it may not be your bag.
I mean, there are people, like I was saying before, about, like, how a lot of people, not everybody in the metal community, and as much as I hate to do the not all thing, because I really fucking hate that, I want to be as clear as possible. Not everybody in the metal community is, like, super gatekeepy, but, like, there are a lot of people that are like, oh, Ghost isn't metal, and a lot of people that, like, one of my favorite, all-time favorite bands is Avenged Sevenfold, and a lot of people are like, oh, they're not metal either, which, you're wrong, but okay.
I mean, a lot of people say that, I mean, so the only metal band that I actually kind of like is a band that a lot of people say isn't metal.
Okay.
But it's okay. So again, this is not, I don't necessarily like metal, but there's a band called Baby Metal.
I've never heard of them.
And they have a song called Gimme Chocolate. So if you don't know anything about how Japanese music stuff works, if you're going to be,
they're a J-rock band?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're going into like music or whatever, like essentially you get paired up with a record label and they decide everything for you. You don't get to decide what kind of music you're going to sing. They stick you into a group that they think is going to be popular.
Yeah.
So they got stuck with metal, even though none of them want to sing metal, but it's kind of like cutesy metal. So that's why I like it. But yeah, so that they're pretty neat. A lot of people started saying that they weren't metal either, and then Metallica was like, fuck off. Yeah, they are.
Well, okay, but that's the other thing. Like, Metallica, like, Metallica gets a lot of shit. Like, oh, you know, like, they sell out and blah, blah, blah. For starters, we need to fucking stop with this whole sellout thing. Because, like, again, okay, so James Hetfield, he went on the Joe Rogan Experience, and it's a really amazing episode. Like, he's like, James Hetfield is this really smart dude, and like he's into a lot of like really interesting things. Like, he's a beekeeper, but like, you know, he talked a little bit about that because like a lot of people gave him shit because there was this photo that started circulating with him with like, I think it was Gucci. Like, he had this like designer shopping, like a shopping bag from a designer store, and he was like, oh, you know, like, excuse me for getting my daughter a birthday gift. You know, like, the thing about a lot of fans is that they only love you when you're starving, and then when you get to the point where everybody is trying to get to, where you made it big and you're making a lot of money, you're not supposed to, like, they still want you to be starving artists.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, that's really counterintuitive, you know, and like, I can't stand that mentality of like, you know, oh man, they're sellouts and blah, blah, blah. Like, people need to chill with that shit. Like, I'm tired of the, you can't smile if you're a metal artist, or if you're covering a metal song. If you're a metal person, like, you have to be miserable all the time. Like, you can't be happy. If, like,
love yourself.
Yeah, like, if you're into yeah, like, if you're into metal, you have to be this, like, you know, sort of like this poor, struggling angry artists like all the time. It's like, it's tired, guys, like for real. It's but like about Ghost with the whole like, oh, they're not metal. Metallica are huge fans of Ghost. Like huge fans. Like there's actually a video that exists of like this music festival that both Ghost and by the way, I'm Ghost went on tour with Metallica at one point.
Yeah.
I think it was just a brief leg of the tour, but still. But there's video, both bands did the same music show thing, and there's video of James Hetfield in the crowd, like, getting really into it and singing along, like, to all of the songs that Ghost was doing. And, you know, like, Ghost did, there was, like, this tribute to Metallica, and Ghost did a cover of Enter Sandman for it. That was pretty great. So, like, we need to stop. Just, like, enjoy the music. Please.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. Like, you know, like, it's not like they're, you know, going back on their ideals or, like, what they stood for. Let people be
fucking happy.
Exactly. Like, God, man. Like, it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. But yeah, like, and like I said, music is my favorite thing. It is in my heart, it's in my soul, it's in my bones. So, like, it frustrates me so much. Like, why can't we just enjoy shit?
Yeah.
You know, like, why does everything have to be, like, put in these, like, neat and constrictive boxes?
The box does not exist.
Yeah. Thank you, Caddy.
It doesn't exist.
So yeah, that's the music discussion, I think.
Yup. But yeah, I think that's all the time we've got for this episode. We went a little bit over what I was thinking we were going to.
It's really funny because before we started this episode, I was like, I don't know if we're gonna have enough about this topic for a full episode. And then I was like, actually, I'm pretty sure we're just gonna nerd out and fill in the time. So we should be good.
But before we go, we would like to take a moment to thank our wonderful, wonderful friends over at Fierce Ferrets. Thank you guys so much for hosting us on your website. If you want to go check them out, you can go check them out at fierceferrets.com or at twitch.tv/fierceferrets. They're wonderful, wonderful human beings, and like I said, they host us on their website, so you can go check out our show there if you don't already. And there are other shows there that you can listen to, like The Last Light and Drunk Fandom. And yeah, so hopefully you can catch us in some of their other shows. We're pretty heavily in Last Light as we play characters that Luke puts us through where he tries to kill us.
He is a just and fair god.
And I make fun of him about not putting bathrooms on the map. I got to that part the other day in editing and busted out laughing again because I was just like, "Are you sure we don't have Are we sure we have bathrooms on this ship? Because I haven't seen the map." And
also microscopes.
Yeah. But yeah. So he's a wonderful DM who doesn't try to kill us every week. And we give him a lot of shit. And also we're in Drunk Fandom sometimes where we talk about things that we love. I still have got to record my Stranger Things episode, and now I'm going to have to include season 3. Woo!
I still have to re-record my first episode.
We've got to get back on that soon.
Hopefully, but Jen was saying that we're gonna do that very soon. So
yeah. Anyway.
I got a shit ton of rum, so I'm good to go for a little while.
But, so on top of that, yeah, you can go check us out over there. We're live on Twitch every Tuesday with Last Light, and we hope that you enjoy the other things that are on there. website that we're in?
We are also on social media. We have a Twitter account and an Instagram account. Both of them have the same name. It's at the COTV podcast. You can check us out there for updates, silly memes. If you have ideas for the show, you can leave them in the comments there, tweet them at us. Or we also have a Patreon and a Ko-fi, both of which are linked on our pinned tweet. If you would like to support the show and have the means to support the show monetarily, we would greatly appreciate that. And for the people on Patreon that are in the $5 tier and up, one of the perks that you get, other than listening to episodes a couple of days in advance, is you get exclusive access to our private Discord server, where there's also a channel dedicated to giving us ideas for the show, because we're just too damn people. We're running out of material, I think.
Yep.
So, with our tiny little lizard brains. So, yeah. And
that said,
another perk that we have for people in the $5 tier and up is getting your name read at the end of every episode.
Yee. That's what I was about to say.
I was trying to set you up.
Yeah. Like I did with the Katy Perry thing earlier.
Okay, you know what? We're even now, so it's good.
But yes, thank you to our wonderful patrons, Brandonson, Gerda, and Fierce Ferrets. Thank you so much for continuing to support us. We love you so much. Yes. And yeah, you're all wonderful human beings, and we can't wait to keep doing this show.
Yay! Yeah, and thank you just generally to all of our listeners. You
yes.
guys are amazing. And make us keep doing this.
You're all beautiful humans. Love yourselves.
Yes.
Be happy.
And don't constrict yourself by genre.
The box does not exist!
I think we're devolving now.
But yeah, I mean, since we're throwing in other things, Bigfoot's bullshit. Yeah.
The Jersey Devil's totally real though, and so is
he
Mothman.
is. Yeah, they are. They hold special places in my heart.
I want to meet Mothman.
I love Mothman.
Me too.
Anyway. But yeah, I think that's everything, unless I'm just lizard braining and can't remember anything else.
Yeah. How much you want to bet people are going to think we're Illuminati because we've referenced both lizard brains and the Freemasons in a single episode?
I mean, who's to say we're not the Illuminati? Hey, Illuminati, if you want to sponsor us. Hey, Mr. Illuminati.
I was going to do Mr. Sandman, but there's too many syllables.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I was thinking more like Mr. Police. But anyway.
I gave you all the clues.
But yeah, so with that and our utter craziness, thank you so much for continuing to listen. We do love you a lot. Be good to yourselves, be good to other people, and until next time, sweet dreams.